Well, today is day 44, I believe, and I've just started off on my hike. Been hiking for maybe 20 minutes, possibly, yeah, I haven't really got a target for the end of the day today. I'm just taking off. I don't have any. There aren't any number of miles I'm planning to hike, and there's no particular destination I have in mind. I'm just going to enjoy the trail as much as I can, and maybe on later on this afternoon I'll take a look at my far out and see where I am and where there's a viable place for me to pitch my tent, and really just sort of enjoy the day as much as I can. I just now stopped and took off my backpack and took off my puffy jacket because today's looks like it's going to be a much nicer day than yesterday. It started off a little cold, I think in the low 30s early this morning, but it's supposed to warm up to about 60 degrees, I think, is the high forecast for today. So we'll see how it goes, and I'm just gonna have a nice casual hike today, and where it takes me, we'll see. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to mention, I should be hitting the 400-mile mark sometime this morning. So well, I'm still not at the top of my first climb today, but I got to this place with a little bit of a clearing and seemed to have a pretty nice view, so I thought I'd do a quick video just right here. Well, as you can see, the grass and other vegetation around the trails starting to get a little bit thicker now as we're getting a little bit later into spring, and so it's nice that I'm away from some of the extreme cold, although I'm told that once I get past Damascus, that first mountain range after Damascus can get kind of chilly and cold, so hang on to my winter gear, I've been told, because I probably will see some more colder weather. But now, at least today, as it's getting more spring-like and the grasses around me are getting a little bit higher and stuff, there's a much better chance of me picking up ticks along the way. So I'm going to have to make a point at the end of each day sort of checking myself for ticks, because I definitely don't want to get Lyme disease while I'm out here on the trail. Well, here it is, the 400-mile mark. I'm about ready to step over it, and there we go. I've now hiked 400 miles on the Appalachian Trail. Okay, well, there seems to be a little bit of a dispute as to exactly where the 400-mile marker is, but either way, I've done it. Well, today is definitely smiles over miles day today, so I'm taking a Blue Blaze out to see Jones Falls. I hear that they're really nice. Here's yet another waterfall, about a quarter mile from where I actually plan to pitch my tent tonight. Well, it's the start of day 45. Yesterday was actually a really casual day. I really enjoyed the day. Didn't walk that far, and sort of took things in. Spent quite a bit of time at one of the waterfalls, and really just took it easy. And my strategy starting yesterday was that I was just really going to do that pretty much for the rest of the way to Damascus, which is should be about 5 days from here. And then once I hit Damascus, I want to be really refreshed. However, last night as I was fixing my dinner at the campsite, and I pulled out my canister of fuel, it was almost empty. I barely had enough to cook my dinner last night. So unless I want to start cold soaking my stuff, I need to get to a place where I can get a canister. So I got on Far Out in the guidebook, and fortunately there's a place about 16.5 miles I'll have to do today to get someplace where they say I'll be able to get a canister. So I'm not going to be able to, today's hike is not going to be as casual as yesterday's, but I think it's going to be doable. The terrain, I think, is going to not be so bad. There's definitely some uphill. In fact, most of it in the first part of the day is uphill, but it doesn't seem to be a very severe grade. So that makes a big difference. So I think it's going to be a good day today. I just can't lollygag. I've got to keep moving. Yeah, yesterday was such a laid-back day that I know that in the past I've talked a lot about how the trail is a nice place to do some reflection and think back about your life, and how I often think about how lucky I am, and but you also think about some regrets and grief and stuff like that. And so the trail is a great place to sort of hash out a lot of that stuff in your mind, especially as you're just sort of casually going down the trail. And yesterday I was talking about Lyme disease and ticks, and getting Lyme disease, and I said that it was a pretty popular event for people to pick up Lyme disease from ticks, and that made me think of my high school teacher, John Strickland. I had him for a creative writing class, and turned in a paper, and he had some nice things to say about it. But he encouraged me. One of the things he said to me was, pay attention to each individual word. And I think maybe at the time I didn't quite understand what he meant by that. But when I said that Lyme disease from ticks is a popular event on the trail, it made me think of him, because as soon as I said popular, I thought, that's not the best word choice. I probably should have said it's a common event, because popular has a more desirable something that's usually kind of desirable, or at least by the masses, is referred to as popular usually. And I don't think the masses would prefer getting Lyme disease. So, but that made me think of my teacher, and especially since he's recently passed away. He and I actually remained fairly close, not necessarily in geographically, but we stayed in communication. And for a while, I actually, when I was curating a lot of exhibits, a couple of times I even exhibited some of his paintings. He was an interesting fella. He not only painted, but I think he probably identified mostly as a jazz musician. But he and I, and of course a writer, but he and I stayed in communication through the years. And then when I ultimately moved to Dallas and started teaching, I thought that was kind of an odd thing, but he was very encouraging to me then. And a few months before he passed away, I had visited him. I'd gone to his studio. I wanted to look at some of his paintings. In fact, I purchased a couple of his paintings, and we had a great time. We went after I had visited his gallery. We went out to lunch, and then he lived in a kind of like a Walden pond. He lived in a cabin on this little pond, and he had a little bench out there. We sat out there and spent the whole afternoon just sort of talking. And he was really curious about, a lot of the things that I had been doing. And then when it was time for me to leave, we were getting ready to go, and kind of uncharacteristically of him and our relationship, he gave me a big hug. And I said, well, because I was planning on being back in the area around September, and I said, I think I'll probably come back in September, and I'll stop by. And unfortunately, I did not go back in September. And a couple of months later, I learned via social media. It was kind of shocking to me. I saw a notification of his death. So I that's one of my regrets. I really regret that I didn't go back in September. But I had a great relationship with John Strickland, aka Fletch. He was a great guy. So I spent a big part of the day yesterday really thinking about my relationship with John Strickland, and so appreciate the people in your life while they're there. It's overcast today, and we're getting a little bit of rain, but still have kind of a nice view today. Okay, well, I'm near the end of day 45, and actually, as you can see, I'm not really on the AT right now. I ran out of fuel. I must have not been keeping track of it, and so I'm getting off the trail to head into a hostel that has some resupply, and according to the guide, it said that they had fuel canisters, so I need to get one. So yeah, it's a little more than a half-mile walk off the trail, which is a bit of a bummer, but I'm almost there, and once I check in, I think I ought to be able to maybe even get some, maybe even like a frozen pizza or something. That would be great. So yeah, this is the end of day 45, I believe.